what's going on, we'll be doing Silence Episode 3. I've done quite a lot while you were gone, while you guys were gone. I've unlocked both of the areas except from the lab, because it's, what, 10k. And today we'll be playing on our own. Now down below, if you want me to do other one of these, or do you want me to do like Minecraft video? Don't know. That's gotta be mental in there. Okay, you want food. So what is this one there, Anna? Never had him. That will help me on my journey to burst the super slime, but I don't see the point. How? Well, that's really cool. No, we all know that one. So guys, I think I've got 2 more places to burst open. No, 3 or 4. Something like that. But while you guys were gone, like while I wasn't streaming, I got all of these. And I really like the party ornament. Stop facing the other way. Face that way. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I just mess up everything. Wait, actually I could use them. No! I got the torch though. I want them. The guys, we will probably burst open one. Wait, I'm gonna sleep for like a couple days. Oh, a guy just invited me. Let me invite him to your party, guys. Guys, comment down below if any of you want to play Save the World with me or trade with me. I've got a modded Gravedigger at level 58. Like I've got like so many guns now. Guys, why do this? So I'm on a journey to pop a slime. I just need 25 onions. This might do.
Oh, it is?
What's working? What's working?
No, working.
Oh, what's that? I'm going to make myself a... Mum? Mum? First, I went going to get a drink. God damn, my keyboard and mouse ain't installed. Guys, does any of you know how we use keyboard and mouse in this game? Tell me. Hello, Slime. Soon I'll be getting rid of you for honeys. Guys, I just need to go for up the road to the left or something to my friends.
I... It's alright then, I'm just gonna take it. Oh yeah, I won't say that.
Oh. Right, I saw you. I saw them all. No, so you stay. I'll tell Alan to come here. The one I go there. I'm back. Hey stream, I'm back. Just had to go deliver something. Okay. Let's go to our journey. I've only been streaming for 14 minutes. Honey's favourites are... I actually don't know what are Honey favourites. If down below, can any of you guys tell me what are Honey Slime's favourite food is? There, mint mango, forgot. If you're wondering, you know those shiny rock slimes? There, I'm going there, but I missed it. Ooh. Where is that one? Oh, yeah, I know where that is. Oh my god, my head hurts so much.
And I want to tell you about the time I got revenge on my high school bully after graduation. My bullying situation was similar to most. I would be picked on daily, and no matter what I did to avoid them, they would always find a way to make my life miserable. Whether that would be from calling me bad names, embarrassing me in front of all of my peers, forcing me to run their errands for them, or pretty much anything else they could conjure up, you name it. They made me do it. The worst part was that I couldn't even go to my teachers for help because my bully was actually my teacher. Miss Smith was very popular with both the staff and the students, so whenever I tried to complain, I was the one who looked like the bad guy. She was polite to everyone else, smiling all the time, helpful to the students, and assisted other teachers with their classes. Miss Smith, or Sydney, to everyone but me, had the whole school wrapped around her little finger. How could you say such a thing about Sydney? Was the usual response I would get from other students. And the principal wasn't any better. Whenever I went to him for help, he would tell me, "We've never received a complaint before. Maybe you're just misunderstanding her." I wasn't misunderstanding anything, and he would just make matters worse after my complaints. Whenever he would go talk to her, he would always walk away charmed, and I would be punished later. Officially, I was her assistant, a title she gave to me after my last complaint didn't work. Unofficially, though, I was her servant. She would make me pick up the class worksheets, and I would be the one filling them out. If I made a mistake, she would yell at me, cursing and throwing the papers onto the ground. Then I would have to pick them up and start all over again. At one point in time, I tried ignoring her, but she started failing me on purpose, putting F's on all of my tests. I also tried to comply with what she wanted, but she would yell and scream that it was never good enough. It got so bad that every time I heard my name, I would flinch in fear of what she would want me to do next. And when she saw that, her face would delight in my fear. She was so admired by everyone that I started to believe that the whole school was out to get me. I was constantly tormented. It felt like a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. So when graduation came around, I was overjoyed. It was finally an end to all of the suffering that I had put up with throughout high school. And now I could move on. However, I could feel something
Well, guys, this is where the slime is, the crystal golem,
when the principal called my name,
and you need 50,
looking around to see
is
where
it
she was.
50 veggies to open it, unless if you've got 25
But
of
Miss
the
Smith still had
favourite.
her claws inside my brain. Her control was forever hanging heavy over my head. I wasn't going to take it anymore. I knew that as long as I continued to let her have power over me, I would never be able to live my life happily. So,
I don't even have
she
the
wouldn't be able to do anything to
lab
me anymore,
open yet, have I?
decided to get my revenge. After graduation, I went to the nearest store and bought many Bluetooth-activated palm-sized alarms. On many different occasions, she'd had me run personal errands for her, so I knew where she lived, and I also knew that she had a spare key hidden behind her back door. I waited for her and her husband to leave the house and snuck inside. I hid the alarms all over her home, upstairs, downstairs, in the bedroom, in the kitchen. I didn't miss a spot. That night, had to do was sit back and wait for them to go to sleep.
Should I just jump off?
I parked not far from their house to watch it all unfold and waited for the last light in the house to go out. I pulled up the app on my cell phone and turned on the first alarm. I waited and laughed for 5 minutes until the signal turned off on their end. Only 5 minutes had passed from start to finish, but it was the best 5 minutes of my life. That night, I slept soundly for the first time in what felt like years. It was like I was getting my life back for once. She was no longer in control. Night after night, I watched as their sleep was interrupted. The lights going off, then coming back on. The sensor on my app telling me that it was finally disabled after minutes of them searching. All of this made each night worthwhile and resulted in a fair amount of hysterical laughter from me. It was so satisfying to be able to get revenge on Miss Smith after everything she put me through. One morning, I was so curious about how they were handling the situation that I decided to go and check out my handiwork. I set off one of the alarms early, the one I placed in the kitchen, and snuck around the back to peek through the window to get a better view of their faces when they turned it off. A minute passed before Miss Smith stormed into the kitchen and yanked open the cabinets. She searched a little before she pulled out the alarm and smashed her hand on top of the button, turning it off. It was hard for me to contain my laughter, but seeing the irritation on her face and how many times she slammed her hand on the button over and over again, even after the alarm turned off, well, I couldn't help but smile. Not only was my plan working, but it was working better than I could have ever hoped for. I wanted to stand up in full view of the window and show my face to Miss Smith to let her know that it had been me all along. I wanted nothing more than to bask in her shock as she saw my face standing before her with the alarm still in her hand. But instead, I turned away from the window and pulled out my phone. Everything was going so smoothly, so I decided to turn on another alarm. If she was irritated now, I could just imagine how annoyed she'd be by hearing another alarm go off. The thought of seeing her flinch like I did all those times when she called my name filled me with joy. However, when I was about to press the button, I heard mumbling coming from inside. When I looked back through the window, I saw Miss Smith crying. At first, I didn't care. I mean, after all of the things she'd done to me, it was only right that she experienced a little bit of the pain that I'd undergone for so long. But then her husband came downstairs. He started yelling and screaming at her, telling her that this was all her fault. He blamed her for everything, and even went as far as to accuse her of setting the alarms herself. She denied it, and they started to argue, but he wouldn't back down. I could hear him screaming things at her that she used to say to me. How could you be so stupid? You know I have to work early in the morning, and now you're playing these ridiculous games? You're worthless. There'll be trouble if you don't find every single alarm before I get back today. He physically pushed past her as he stormed out of the house. Then he got into his car and drove away. I was shocked. I actually felt sorry for her and was about to leave. But that's when I heard another voice shouting. This time, it was a woman. I looked inside the window, and an old woman was standing there screaming at Miss Smith. Her voice was...
We endured. We survived. Now, we venture outside to hunt our enemies.
It was so loud and annoying.
You will never be the wife my son deserves.
She screamed.
Both of us are miserable because of you. Get the hint already and leave us to live in peace.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The old woman looked absolutely terrifying. Miss Smith paused for a moment and then shouted, Helen! I froze. My whole body went completely numb. She'd seen me. But that's when she continued talking. Just because you're my mother-in-law doesn't mean you can speak to me like that in my own house. Oh, whoa. Her mother-in-law had exactly the same name as me. At that moment, things started to make sense. After everything that Miss Smith had put me through, it was hard for me to feel sympathy for her. but now I was able to see everything with my own eyes. She was doing to me the things that had been done to her. I guess it was her way of getting some kind of release. I had always wondered why it was me that she decided to pick on, but it was obvious now. I felt sorry for what she was going through, but I was also angry that she had taken her frustrations out on me for so many years. After thinking about it,
Hunter slime.
I didn't want to be like her.
I swear there's
She
over
was
there.
miserable and had decided to make someone else's life miserable too, just so she could feel a bit better. That just wasn't in my nature, and I didn't want to end up like her. Two wrongs don't make a right. So I wrote a letter giving the location of the rest of the alarms and slipped it under her door. After I was done, I drove away from her house and never looked back. Have you ever been picked on by your teacher? Share what happened to you in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Honeys. No, don't eat that. Don't. Oh. Alright, let's pick up the honey now. Let's pick up these honeys. I know a few chips away, but I'll eventually find them. There's that awful one. Alright, now where's the chip? So no, I need to. I need to clean this area up before I do anything. I don't know what does that do. Well, I don't know, chickens come out of there. Now let's pick all this up. Not picking up our fellow chickens. I guess I'll make a storage. Just I don't need the phone no more. Guys, I like this game. If you guys like this as well, comment down below if you want to see more, and like this video. And if we get to 100 likes, I guess I will do something. I guess I'll do a room tour or a house tour. If this video gets 100 likes. It might not happen, but let's try.
So, when I was about in 3rd or 4th grade, I was at a sleepover at one of my friend's house, and she had lice at the time, but I didn't know, and I didn't bring a pillow or anything, so eventually I caught lice from her, and everyone was trying to get it out of me, and then it spread to my brother, but I really only told the girl that I had a sleepover with. One day, this girl, she found out I had lice, and she was hanging out with my friend group at the time, and every time I walked over to her, she would just give me this weird look, like a disgusted look, and then just back away, and she would whisper stuff in my friend's ear, and then they would just run away from me. I think it was probably because she knew I had lice. She kept taking my friend group away from me, so I would be alone most of the time, all because of my lice. And one day I even had to be sent home because one of the teachers saw lice in my hair. It was kind of hard living with lice in a school of, you know, people that aren't so nice. Now I don't have any lice, but then when I got into 5th grade, I remember that there was this one boy, and he's kind of like the class clown. He was just touching everyone's heads for some reason. Just like pat, pat. It was so weird. And that one girl said, oh, I wouldn't touch Nora's head if I were you. And then I just started crying. And I noticed that she has been like running away from me and taking all my friends away from me at that time. So I just started crying. And the teachers luckily found out. And I got to talk to with a counselor. And the one girl apologized to me. And now we're really good friends. Just know if you have lice, no matter how long you have it, there's always an end to it. Just treat your hair well and bring a pillow when you go over to people's house for sleepovers. My advice.
Cause it's sunshine dripping down my face.
Oh, that's... How are you supposed to do that? I swear we can get them. Oh, that's with the upper slime key. If you... Oh, yeah. Is it? I know it's in the party. Everybody, watch me wet. Now watch me nana. Now watch me wet, wet. Now watch me nana. guess I could have a honey hunter. No, I'm not doing that. That's 2. There. So you guys should all be hungry for a little bit. But I'll go farming. But first I need to empty all this out. I know the honey slams will be mental when they're hungry. Are you with me, Web?
Hey, what's up? My name is Anne, and I'm 16 years old. I have a story that taught me that relationships between men and women are not that simple. This is how I found out that my mother cheated on my dad, and he knew about it. I'll start from the beginning. Recently, my little sister was born, and our life changed. I had no idea that raising a child was so expensive. All those diapers, toys, strollers. Dad used to be a freelancer, and he made enough money to support all of us. But now Mom had to find a job too. So she became a realtor. She's selling real estate. And that's how we began to live. Dad works at home and babysits my little sister. I'm trying to help with everything.
Oh!
And Mom rides around the city
Who's this already?
cool houses. At first I was angry with my mother for spending too much time at work. Besides, the commissions she received were very small. But then I accepted it. After all, she's trying to make money. Until I had a dance at school. Agreed that Mom would pick me up after.
No, Mom.
Guess what? All my friends had been picked up by their parents, and my mom was still nowhere to be found. And she also wasn't answering her phone. I stood outside for almost an hour. And then this big black Jeep drove up, the window opened, my mother looked out and told me to get in and sit down. When I got into the car, I saw an unfamiliar man sitting behind the wheel. The whole way my mother talked to him silently and giggled. I thought, she's trying to be polite because this man was giving us a ride. But then I noticed a very important detail. She wasn't wearing her wedding ring. So, what is happening here? Who is this guy? What kind of relationship does he have with my mother? When we arrived and got out of the car, I asked my mom who that was. She said to ignore him, that he was just her colleague. Ignore? You flirt with another man while Dad's sitting at home and I'm supposed to ignore it? I decided to ask her about it at dinner in front of my dad, so she could hear it all.
Hello?
I started from a distance. Mom, what happened to your car? Why did you pick me up in that other one with some random man? My mother answered, oh, something happened to the engine. There was steam coming from the hood in the middle of the road. I had to call the tow truck and take it to get repaired. Fortunately, my colleague was not far away and agreed to give us a lift. Looks like she's got it covered. I was getting angry. Just asked her straight. Why aren't you wearing your wedding ring? It looked like this question put my mother in a very awkward position. She looked at me for a few seconds with annoyance. I replied, I tried to deal with the car by myself first. Took off my rings to keep them clean. I looked at Dad, but it seemed he wasn't even listening. It's sad. I said, Dad, what do you think about it? But then my mother interrupted me, said that dinner was over, sent me to my room. From that moment on, I began to suspect that the man in the Jeep was more than just a colleague. I decided to not tell my father about my suspicions yet. There was no need to upset him if I don't have any clear evidence. The next morning at breakfast, there was tension between me and my mom. She even tried to avoid eye contact with me. We just sat in silence. And suddenly, her phone rang. She said it was for work and that we had to answer and went into the bedroom. I knew it wasn't just for work. I wanted to eavesdrop on the conversation and came up with a brilliant idea. I went to my sister's room and turned on the baby monitor. It works on both sides, so I could hear the conversation pretty clear. Mom was very nice. I had no doubt she was talking to that colleague. And I managed to hear her very important. She said, at Rossi's I eat. Kisses, see you. Rossi's is a gorgeous restaurant downtown. So, you were going on a date, Mom, huh? Well, I'm definitely going to Ruben's. So, I got the address and the time of the meeting. I decided to get there half an hour later to catch catch them in the middle of their date. When I arrived, I saw my mother's car and the Jeep of the man who picked me up from the dance. So, your car broke down, huh? I was very angry. I went to the window and guess what I saw? My mother and this man having a romantic dinner with candles and wine. I stood there for a minute and suddenly he went over to my mother and kissed her. Oh, I couldn't hold my anger anymore. I ran into the restaurant and started yelling at my mom. How dare you do that? Dad's alone looking after your baby while you're out on dates? How dare you do this to him and to me? At this moment, the man stood up and asked me a question. What? Dad, you're married. You said that you were divorced. Why did you lie to me? He just stood in silence for a second. Then Mom said, Rob, I'm married. I have 2 daughters. I'm sorry. I should have told you before. Then my mother took me by the hand, led me outside, put me in the car. During the car, I was crying. I have to tell everything to Dad right now. When he arrived, I shouted from the doorway, Dad, Mom has something to tell you. Mom began to explain. She found out I was having an affair with a man I wanted to sell a house to. Dad sighed sadly and said that he had taken time for a difficult conversation. We sat down and I started explaining everything. I had to know that Mom was having an affair. It's because he let her do it. Mom said that she was trying to sell a really expensive house to this man, but he was unyielding and stubborn. With his commission for selling this house, we could live for a whole year. So Mom asked Dad if she could seduce this man to make him more amenable. And now the deal had gone wrong because of me. But I was still angry and confused. And how did you think this date would end? Would you go to his house? Huh? But Mom didn't say anything. Then Dad intervened and said that it was a joint decision, and it was hard for him too. So I had to be mature enough to accept my choice. I still don't know how to feel about it. On one hand, my mom was dating other men. On the other hand, she was doing it because she loves her family. It's so weird. They told me that they admitted it was a lousy idea and they completely regret it and wouldn't do it again. It's a good lesson for all of us. I learned that relationships can be really complicated. And my parents realized that family is more important than money. How would you react if your parents had made a similar choice? Write about it in the comments. Thank you for watching, and do not forget to like this video and share it with your friends.
I need to go chicken farming for those hunters.
Hey guys, I'm Stan. I wish that I could say that I'm the most popular guy in school because I'm good at sports or good with girls, you know. But the truth is that the whole school now knows me for my underwear. Nevertheless, this is going to be a love story, so to speak. Here's how everything happened. My life at school has never been simple. I'm too skinny and small for my 12 years of age and look like a weirdo instead of a smart guy in my glasses. That's pretty much why I have been an object of ridicule on a pretty regular basis from my enormous, huge, and definitely not very smart classmate, Eric Patterson. I don't know why he decided to pick on me, but his favorite thing to do was lock me in the janitor's closet, for example. And when I was finally found and let out, it turned out that I had missed something like a math pop quiz. He probably thought it was funny. Or I remember another interesting experience. When I went up to my locker and tried to open it and found out that my hand got stuck to it. Somebody, try guessing who it was, covered it with glue. It was strong glue too, by the way, because when I finally pulled off my stuck hand, the door of the locker was still glued to it. Everybody laughed and I got detention for damaging school property. You're probably wondering why I didn't tell anybody about my troubles. Well, I tried once to talk to the principal, but Eric happens to be the son of one of his close friends or something. So he kinda managed to escape from everything scot-free. And I, on the other hand, had sort of been on his radar ever since then. Everything he did to me was really offensive and sometimes even humiliating. However, at some point, I sort of started getting used to it. I knew it was the only way for me to survive school. But then, a new girl transferred to my class. Everything became even worse. Her name was Jackie Banks. I clearly remember the day I saw her for the first time. After PE class, couldn't find my belt anywhere. I knew it should have been there, because without it, I would definitely lose my pants. Anyway, I needed to rush to the next class without it, since I was next in line to present my homework in American history. So I was left with nothing to do but hold up my pants with my own hands. Jackie entered the classroom right when I was at the blackboard getting ready for my presentation. She looked so amazing to me that I even messed up everything and forgot the major part of my speech. Even my teacher, Mr. Clark, was confused about what I'd said about Thomas Jefferson. On my way back to my desk, I'd completely forgotten about my missing belt, and at some point my pants had fallen down, revealing my Harry Potter underwear to the whole class. So yes, my meeting with the first girl I really liked was a true disaster. I guess it's needless to say that on the next day, the whole school was aware of the incident. Everybody was laughing and making fun of me, using jokes about Quidditch when I passed by. Of course, somebody had even put a corresponding poster on my locker. I'm pretty sure it was Eric Patterson, and it might have been him who had something to do with me losing my belt. It was an embarrassing situation on its own, you know, but what was really unbearable for me was that now my chances to associate with Jackie Banks were literally slim to none. But one single biology class changed everything. Eric Patterson was presenting his project to the whole class. It was not even his work. Actually, he just brought his piranha aquarium and showed us how the fish were fighting for a piece of meat. It was a poor, bloody, and creepy presentation, mind. Everybody else in the class, by the way, was also not very impressed and busy with their own stuff. Anyway, I suddenly discovered a piece of paper on my desk. I looked around and found that Jackie Banks was non-verbally trying to explain that I needed to unfold it. This really surprised me and even made me a little bit excited. I mean, what could she have written to me? What a muggle. Huh? The note said. Apparently about Eric's presentation. I couldn't believe my own eyes. She also happened to be a Potterhead like me. I turned my head to look at Jackie, but she didn't look back at the time. However, I did notice the shadow of a cunning smile on her lips. We have sort of become friends since that note. We weren't sitting together in the cafeteria still, because, you know, she was busy with her girlfriends and I was too shy to bother her. But we always tried to sit together during team projects in our classes. She was not very good at studying, but it didn't matter. I was smart enough to do everything for the both of us, and I was really happy to be able to help her. For example, I would sit behind her in math, and during tests, I always enthusiastically whispered the right answers, hoping she would hear them. I was in, like, 7th heaven, and really began feeling that I'd deeply fallen in love with her. All these being friends only in class things didn't bother me much until one day. I was sitting in the courtyard reading some interesting stuff on Harry Potter's public page when I suddenly saw Jackie pass by not far from me. I was about to give her a holler when Eric Patterson approached her. Their behavior was really interesting. They seemed to have a nice talk, and then he passed her some purple sheets of paper and disappeared. I was afraid I'd seen something secret, so I rushed back to stare at my phone, as if I didn't notice anything when she approached me. She handed me those purple sheets of paper and said that this was her math test. Then she asked me to check it before she submitted it. I took the papers and promised to look through them, but I really felt like I had been used. Guys, I was shocked. You see, she was basically pretending to be friends with me to get better grades for herself. And now she was helping my arch enemy study, at my expense. I knew I should tell her that I was offended and stop helping her with her studies, I thought. The only way for me, the shy guy, to sort of get revenge on her was to let her fail the math test by putting the wrong answers on the purple answer sheet she had just given me. And that was just what I did. At least I thought I did. The next day, in the cafeteria, I heard somebody call me. I saw Eric Patterson approaching me. His face showed that we weren't going to have a nice talk. He began accusing me of his D- on his latest math test. He said he asked Jackie for help, and she promised to ask me to check everything. He said she promised that it would be at least an A grade, and now, since it wasn't, he was about to punish me. He shouted so loud that everybody stopped what they were doing and were staring at us. But then, I saw Jackie. She appeared out of nowhere and stood right between Eric and I. Apparently, Jackie thought Eric was going to hurt me since he was twice as big as me, so she decided to rescue me. Everybody in the room got silent, and then a buzz of whispers rolled through the cafeteria. Everybody was discussing the situation. Eric turned red from anger, but he said nothing, and just gave me a furious, threatening look, and walked away. But I really didn't know what to think about all this. If Jackie betrayed me previously with that fake friendship thing, why would she now come and defend me? Actually, I didn't need to ask that question, because she explained everything herself. She said she didn't want me to get hurt, and she really wanted to be friends with me just to get better grades. But only at first. As soon as she got to know me better, she understood that I was a really interesting person, and that we could have a real friendship. And the real reason why she'd helped Eric that time was that he was actually her cousin, and she really did love Harry Potter, so not everything in her whole story with me was a lie. She said all that and left me there. And I was just sitting there with this feeling that everything must have been a dream. I felt betrayed, confused, yet a little bit happy. Frankly speaking, I still can't help falling in love with her. What if I change the way I look and go to the gym? Maybe she might love me back. Or should I go talk to her? Let me know your opinion.
Welcome to Zipit.com, the site where you can sell your old books, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, and games for cash. Do you have stacks of unwanted stuff you no longer need? Well, that's why we're here. Here's what you need to know. On the back of your books, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, and games, there is a barcode. Simply download our free app and scan this barcode, and we'll give you an instant price for each item. If you prefer, you can type in the barcode number underneath.
Hi guys, I'm Catherine. I'm only 16 now, but I was forced to leave my parents' house and move across the continent. I feel almost like an orphan, with my parents alive. And that's pretty insulting. Everything has happened because of love, or rather, because of my romantic preferences. The thing is that I happen to be a lesbian. Actually, when I myself began suspecting that I was attracted to girls, it was quite unexpected and weird. It happened a few years ago when I was 12 or something. I was at a sports camp with some girls from gymnastics class, and one of them, who used to be my best friend, made it clear that she was in love with me. It was shocking and scary, but more because I suddenly understood that I felt pretty much the same toward her. I was never fond of gymnastics at all, especially the sporty kind, when girls look more like solid fire plugs. Even though they are really flexible. Then why I would devote 8 years to it, you might ask? And my answer is that my dad insisted on me doing so. You see, first of all, he always wanted to have a son in order to raise him to be a successful athlete. But I was born a girl and disappointed my dad with that fact. He, nevertheless, has never given up on his dream of being the father of an Olympic champion. And gymnastics was one of his favorite sports. Dad was strict and totalitarian. I was too young to rebel against him. Mom was, and still is, way too much in love with my dad to disagree with him. I definitely wasn't a talented athlete, but Dad kept saying that diligence is the mother of success, and that he was sure that eventually I would get that gold medal. But I managed to gain only a few encouragement awards, a couple of bone and nose fractures, and something that was totally unexpected, my sexuality. Regina was nice. She was really rocking, you know? She was a better athlete than I was, and definitely the better lesbian. I mean, she was way more assured in her lifestyle, and much more courageous than me. It was one of those nights at sports camp, and we, as usual, had snuck out of our room to watch the shooting stars while sitting on top of the roof. Then, she said that she loved me more than just a friend, and that she really wanted to give me a kiss if I didn't mind. I'd gotten scared. Back then, I was too young for any romance, I guess. But I never thought that I could be, well, not like others in this sense. I probably didn't want to feel what I felt towards my bestie, so I yelled at her that she could no longer be my friend and hastily got up to go back to my room. But I might have been just too shocked by what had happened, because suddenly my leg slipped and I fell off the roof. Everything happened really fast after that. I mean, the panic, the ambulance, and the terrible pain. All that relates to this very story is that I damaged my spine. Fortunately, not very seriously, but this turned out to be a
enough for the doctors to strongly advise me to leave gymnastics forever. Even my stubborn father had to admit that my poor achievements were not worth continuing it. Finally being free from gymnastics, I had surprisingly so much spare time. I would never have thought that I would miss the very fact of participating in sports somehow. Besides, I saw that my dad got a bit more irritated than usual, and I was pretty sure that it was because of my failure as an athlete. I couldn't stand being my dad's disappointment one more time, so I decided to join another favorite sport of his, curling. What can I say? It was fun with all those biters and guards and draws. I'd even promised Dad that I'd win some medals in it because I was pretty sure that I could become a successful curler. But I kept thinking about my sexuality over and over again. I would read a lot of stuff on the internet and decided to try to accept myself as a lesbian. I noticed that I felt an attraction to one of my team members, Josie. I don't know how it happened, but once again, at first we became really close friends, and very soon, both of us agreed that it was more than just friendship. This time I was 14, and I was already ready to try dating. Josie was nice, and we often got together at my place after our training. My parents knew her and even seemed to like her, but of course we were keeping our little secret from my folks, since they were way too conservative to understand, I thought. But once, as it usually happens, my mom appeared in the wrong place at the wrong time. Josie and I thought that we were home alone and decided to have a romantic movie time, when suddenly my mom returned home from work a little bit early. She decided to ask whether we were up for pizza, and unfortunately she forgot to knock first. She opened the door and saw us sitting with our arms around each other, and she would probably have thought nothing of this if Josie and I hadn't bounced off each other immediately. Of course, Josie got really embarrassed and bustled off as fast as she could, and I could barely stand Mom's raised eyebrows. At first she said nothing and just left my room, but in a couple of minutes she came back and we had a talk. I won't bother you now with all the specifics that Mom and I were discussing. I just want to say that I felt a huge relief when my mom said that she'd love me and support me no matter who I chose to fall in love with. I felt really uplifted, so much so that I decided to confess everything to my dad, too. But he did not understand me at all. And now I was no longer allowed to see Josie. Dad had not only forbidden me to go to curling training, but also to socialize with anyone. He took my cell phone away and even put me in homeschool. I was allowed to leave the house only accompanied by my parents and only to some lame places like museums or theaters. No more fun. My world was destroyed and I felt like a prisoner in my own family. Just because of the thing about me which I will never be able to change. I spent almost 2 months like that, not talking to Dad at all and barely sleeping at night because of the constant stress. When one day my mom entered my room and said that we needed to talk, there were not many words in her speech. She said that she loved me so much and tried to assure me that my dad loved me too. It's just his temper, you know that, right? She asked. And then she said that she had talked to her aunt on the telephone. She agreed to host me for the next couple of years until I graduate from school, and that I had to start packing my stuff. Here I am at Aunt Jackie's place, living across the country from my parents. It's been 114 days since I talked to my dad for the last time. He has never called me here. Mom tries to be supportive every time she calls. She promises to come and visit me, but I doubt she will ever do so without Dad. By the way, we have been dating for a while, but I still feel lonely, as if some part of me is missing. And this part is Mom and Dad, I guess. Please, cheer me up with a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to this channel to be aware of other stories that actually happened.
One of the creatures hit on board the dropship and emerged when the dock of the Sulaco. It was larger than the others. A queen. When you first played it sounded as energized as a movie. I left my spot. That makes me Mission CO.
Hi guys, my name is Lisa. I'm 16 and I'm going to tell you something I'm very ashamed of. Recently, I had to prove to my mom that I wasn't pregnant, and because of that, a secret of mine was revealed. I have to say, I'm not used to talking about delicate matters like this. My parents are very conservative people. My whole life, I wasn't allowed to dress the way I wanted to. I wasn't allowed to hang out with friends as much as I wanted to. And of course, I was not allowed to date anyone. Yeah, sure. So behind my parents' back, I started dating Jamie. I hid it as best I could. But one day they found out. Oh, and then I had a hard time. I was grounded for a month, and every day I fought with my parents. I demanded to be allowed to date Jamie. It was difficult, but I managed to convince my parents. We found a compromise. I was allowed to see him, but I had to promise not to do anything stupid. So Jamie and I haven't done anything stupid for 1 year. We're really close. We even wanted to introduce our parents to each other. But that's another sad story, because my mom and dad couldn't stand Jamie's parents. One summer, my parents were going on vacation, and they were going to take me with them. It seems good, but this was a trip to Thailand for 3 weeks. I couldn't imagine spending almost a month without Jamie. So we came up with a brilliant plan. He convinced his mom and dad to spend their vacation in the same city and in the same hotel where we were. Imagine my parents' surprise when they saw Jamie and his family at the hotel. Huh. But we were so happy to see each other. Of course, my mom and dad wanted to have their eyes on me at all times, but they also wanted to relax. So I was often released under Jamie's parents' supervision so they could rest alone. It totally worked out. For us, it was a dream vacation. We enjoyed every day, and we had something to remember later. But it was not just good memories that I brought back from Thailand. My stomach started hurting, and I was sick. First, I thought it was nothing special, just a change of climate or something like that. I took the usual medication, but it didn't help at all. And then it started. My mom came to me and said that we needed to talk about something sensitive, and that I needed to be as honest as possible. Just from these words, I already felt uncomfortable and awkward. My mom said that my symptoms were very similar to morning sickness in a woman who is in the early stages of pregnancy. This phrase just shocked me. I started to deny everything, but nothing seemed to change my mother's mind. So she handed me a pregnancy test. It wasn't just awkward and weird, it was humiliating. Imagine doing this when your mom is standing on the other side of the door. But I had no choice. I did the test and it was negative. Of course it was negative because I knew I couldn't be pregnant. But the symptoms didn't go away, and the next day my parents took me to the hospital. The doctor started with the usual questions about my symptoms, my stomach, and then about my periods. I was so embarrassed by that question. It was humiliating. He asked me these questions in front of my parents. I began to count in my mind, and the results shocked me. My period was supposed to start about 7 days ago, so it was late. The doctor said it's really too early for morning sickness. I exhaled. But then he said we'd still do another test to make sure. At that moment, I just ran out of patience and I shouted, "I can't be pregnant. I know that because I'm on birth control pills." Yes, I said it. That was my secret, and now my parents were responsible for making me reveal it. As it turns out, I did have a sickness. It was just a little more serious. And I had a delay in my cycle because of the climate change. We got in the car and, in my parents' faces, I realized that we were going to have a very serious conversation. But I was surprised that we didn't go home. 15 minutes later, we arrived at Jamie's house. I was told to sit in the car, and my mom and dad went up to the house. I saw Jamie's parents open the door. They argued for a long time. Mom shouted something, pointing in my direction, and Jamie's parents were just shrugging. At that moment, I just wanted to cry. On the way home, Mom took my phone and said I wouldn't be talking to my boyfriend anymore, and that now I'm under their strict control. All I could do was cry and yell at my parents, but that didn't help. Every time I heard my phone ring in my mom's purse, my heart would break. I wanted to talk to Jamie, hear him, see him, and hug him tightly. At home, my mother wanted to start an educational conversation with me again, but I was too mad at her, so I just ran into my room and slammed the door. In the middle of the night, I heard a light knock on my window. It was Jamie. It turned out that his parents were mad too, and he was forbidden to date me and ran away from home. I opened the window. He said, "Quiet, Lisa, get your stuff and get out quick." I didn't even hesitate. I just threw some t-shirts and pants in my bag and I climbed out the window quietly. Jamie said we were going to his older brother's house. Half an hour later, we were at the bus station. This place sucked. There was a terrible smell everywhere, and also it's where homeless people go to sleep. But I wasn't disgusted or scared because I wasn't alone. I was with my loved one. When we got on the bus and it drove off, I put my head on Jamie's shoulder and fell asleep. Even though we were running away from home, I felt warm and safe. We arrived early in the morning, terribly sleepy. I barely remember how we even got a taxi to the apartment, and I immediately fell asleep on the couch. I woke up alone. It looked like I had slept for like half a day. Jamie was talking to his brother in the kitchen. When I came in, his brother turned to me and said, "It's good that you woke up. Get ready. Your parents will be here soon." What? I was shocked. I didn't understand why he told them. This is betrayal. And Jamie was sitting there just agreeing with everything. Then I shouted, "No, then we're leaving right now. I'm not going home." But it was too late. Our parents were already knocking at the door. They put us in the car and started lecturing us again. They were very angry and did not even try to sugarcoat their words. But something had changed because our parents were together in one car. My mom and dad, who couldn't stand Jamie's parents for being too lenient, were sitting in the same car with them, working together to find us and pick us up. Of course, things are still bad because my parents found out that Jamie and I are closer than they thought, and I broke my promise. And I don't expect them to accept it right now, but now I have hope that with the help of Jamie's parents, they will understand that we are old enough and there is nothing wrong with our relationship. Thanks for watching.
Hey,
Guys, this is really
here's
hard.
my story. I think it's actually pretty funny. Okay, so from the moment we moved into our new house, we waged a war with our neighbors. I didn't think it would ever end. And actually, I hope it never ends, because it makes me really happy. It's not a real war. We're just messing around with each other. Our neighbors are actually our best friends. Their son, Mike, is my classmate. And our parents have been friends since high school, and used to always make fun of each other. And now our pranks have reached a whole new level, and we participate in them with our whole family. For example, I bought a fake hand at a joke shop. We smeared it in ketchup, and then threw it to the neighbor's dog. Imagine how they screamed when the dog brought it into the house. Of course, the next day, they responded with another prank. We were watching a movie in the living room, and suddenly, firecrackers began to shoot loudly from the fireplace. We were terrified, and we ran out of the house in a panic. And then we saw Mike, and his parents laughing at us. Of course, it was a joke. Somehow, they dropped firecrackers into our chimney with the help of a drone. Can you imagine? It was awesome. Usually after these jokes, we have a picnic or a party where we can relax and have fun. This gives us the opportunity to feel like one big family. But a few days ago, the jokes crossed the line, and it stopped being funny. One evening, we were sitting at home, having dinner, and suddenly, we were interrupted by the loud sound of breaking glass. And then a big stone fell next to our table. We all froze for a second. Dad rushed to the window to see who it could have been, but it seemed that the villain managed to escape or hide. I saw that the stone was wrapped in paper, so I picked up this unfolded gift. There was a note on it. It said, "I'm tired of your stupid jokes. One more and you'll regret it." But this didn't make any sense. We didn't do anything worth breaking a window for. It was not funny. We took the stone and went to the neighbors. But when we asked why they did it, they denied it and said they didn't do anything. And of course, we didn't believe them. we had become accustomed to their pranks and always suspected a trick. So at that moment we thought, okay, you asked, and Dad and I started thinking about a revenge plan. But we didn't even have time to do anything, because the next morning, Mike's father came to our house and started arguing with my dad. As it turns out, someone punctured the tires on his car, and he thought it was my dad, but he didn't do it, so he became angry too. They began to argue, and it almost came to a fight. They both thought it was a joke that had just gone too far. It was the first time I'd seen them fight in my life. They were best friends, and then were somehow willing to almost come to blows with each other. The only thing I could think of was that's not right, and I had to figure out how to fix it. I decided to talk to Mike at school. He stood his ground and said his father was innocent, and so did I. Okay, but then who done all of this? To get our dads back on speaking terms, we had to find the real culprit. So we decided to install a couple of cameras in case this joker wanted to do another prank. You won't believe it, but the cameras came in handy the very next day. It was an ordinary morning, and my dad was getting ready for work. But as soon as he crossed the threshold, we heard a rumbling and screams. Then we heard Dad cursing. We quickly ran out to the porch and saw that Dad had fallen through the floorboards. This was getting crazy. He could have broken something. Our neighbors also heard the noise and came out to see what had happened. And when Dad saw them, he got really angry. He got on his feet and started running towards them, shouting and threatening them. We could barely calm him down, and we told him that whoever did this had definitely got caught on camera. And here it was, the moment of truth. We turned on the tape, and around 4 a.m., we saw a man on our porch. He was fumbling with a screwdriver. Finally, he got up, and we recognized him immediately. It was the man from the house on the other side of the street. It looks like he unscrewed the screws that hold the floorboards together in the porch. So when Dad came out, he fell right through them, and thank God he didn't hurt himself. Okay, so we found out the identity of this wicked prankster. The only thing left to do was to punish him for everything. And we were going to do it in our own way. So we came up with a whole plan. It consisted of a couple of interesting purchases at our favorite joke shop, and a little bit of luck. The next day, everything was ready. We waited until the neighbor left to run some errands and quickly set the trap. Then we went back to the house and waited for him to come home. Soon, he arrived. He got out the car, took the bags out of the trunk, went up to his porch, and bam! Dozens of colorful firecrackers started exploding around him. At some point, he was like a fairy with colorful stars flying around. He was scared as hell. He dropped his bags and fell to the ground in fear. Soon the fireworks stopped popping, but that wasn't the end. He was very angry. He realized that we did it and ran up to our house, shouting that he was going to call the police. But when he came to the door, he instantly fell through the floorboards. He had gotten caught in his own trap. Our plan had worked perfectly. All we had to do was talk to him and let him know that he shouldn't be messing with us. But the unexpected happened. He couldn't get out because his leg was broken. Oh my gosh. We didn't want it to end like this. Of course, we helped him out, put him in the car, drove him to the hospital, and took care of everything. And the next day, the police came to our house. He had called them anyway, but the thing is, the porch where he broke his leg was damaged by him, and we even had a video for it. So his accusation made no sense, but after all, I feel a little guilty that the prank injured someone. And that's the only reason we didn't tell the police about the broken window and the flat tires. So the neighbor actually got off easily. Later he confessed to us that he did it because he was tired of the constant noises, popping firecrackers, and loud laughter. He was sick of our pranks. He was especially annoyed that after they happened, we always had a party and made even more noise. And this was his revenge. It's actually sad. He began to harm us because he envied the fact we had friends and family, and he was lonely. Now, we're not mad at him.
No!
We're thinking of inviting him to come over sometime and want to get to know him better. I hope you understand that we're not bad people. We just love to have fun. Guys, have you ever played a prank on your friends? Tell us about the most interesting one in the comments below. And of course,
No, I'm not
try
scared.
this at home.
Alright guys, this is where I'm gonna end it. Bye!